Hey, it's Jack from Jack Gately Real Estate and the Online Real Estate Academy. We haven't made one of these videos in a while, but I got 3 awesome questions. So I figured I'd make an Ask Jack video. You've got questions, I've got answers. Let's get into it. We're going to cover today for you how to set up your brokerage. What happens to you if you apply for the exam and you never hear back from them? Uh-oh. And is real estate the right career for me? So let's get started. Jennifer writes, I'm trying to figure out how to set up my brokerage. I'm slightly confused when I take the test, which I set up under my own name. That's true, Jennifer. You can only have a broker license in the name of an individual. Only an individual can hold a broker's license. Only a corporation can get an agency license. Ooh, that sounds like a good test question. I could either work for myself or I could work as an associate broker. Is that correct? And if I was to work for myself, is it simple once I create an entity to convert so I can bring on additional people like agents to work with me? How do I set this all up and set up the test appropriately? Well, we're conflating a couple of things there, Jennifer. Number one, your broker license, as we mentioned, is held in your name. So you can only take the test in your personal name. Once you pass the test and become a broker, good for you, you then have a couple of options. You could then stay at the agency you're working at, and you'd be an associate broker at that agency. Or you could leave that agency. You might want to check your comp plan and also look at, what happens when you leave if you have deals pending. Right? Don't want to leave money on the table, but you might want to check that comp plan. But you could leave and work as a solo broker, or what we call as a sole proprietor broker. This would be under your own name only, so you just would be able to mark it as your name, comma, broker. And you can't hire agents, but you're allowed to hold an escrow account as a sole proprietor broker. And then the third option would be to open up an agency, and this would require you to form a corporation. The most common version of that would be a limited liability company at the Secretary of State's office. It's like $500 a year. I know, very expensive. We're one of the highest states for that fee. And once you establish the corporation, you can then apply on the e-portal, which is, I know, a little bit ancient. But you can apply in the e-portal for what we call an agency license, and that technically that agency license is held by the corporation which you created at the Secretary of State's office. And you would name yourself as the broker of record at that agency which you created. So once again, there are 3 options. Stay where you are and work as an associate broker. Create a sole proprietor broker business. There's no other additional paperwork for that. You can do that just simply based upon your broker license only, or you can create an agency, as we just spoke about. The only option that allows you to hire agents is the agency license route. There isn't another test or another exam or another course. It's just paperwork and more insurance more than anything else. So that pretty much answers your question there. You did mention that you had a couple of pending transactions. You might want to check your written comp plan. And if you don't have a written comp plan, an advice for all of you is make sure you have a written comp plan. And if you're starting a new agency, your new agency, as a broker, your new agency should have a written comp plan. All right, let's get on to Nazir. I was wondering if you could help me to move forward. I have not heard back from Massachusetts Real Estate Board about my application since submitting my application 2.5 months ago. Oh boy, that is a long time. Currently, and this does vary, currently the processing time is about 30 days from when you send in your application. And to be clear, you send it into the exam service, not the actual state real estate board. So I want to bring up the screen. Let me just hold on a quick second. Let me bring that screen up. Okay, here we go. Over on the candidate bulletin, you want to go over to the page with the checklist and scroll down to the bottom. There we go here. Sorry about that. And the email address is here. Here, I'll move my face. That's better. The email address, currently in January of 2023, the correct email address is ma.applicationprocessor@psionline.com. Now, if you're watching this video years from now, they might change the email address. But currently in January of 2023, the only way that you can apply for the exam is by emailing your application to this address. Do not mail your application, even though they have the street address here. Don't do that, and don't fax it in either. You can only email it. And of course, you want to check this checklist to make sure that you've included everything that is required. You also might want to check your spam to make sure that, some response that they emailed back to you didn't go to your spam. Okay, so assuming you sent it to the proper email address, the only other real thing that could have caused such a delay would be a criminal record. And you probably know whether you have one of those or not. And if you don't, then it's definitely been too long. If you sent it to the correct address, there's nothing in your spam, and you have no criminal record, then it's been way too long. I want you to check those things out, email me back. And if it's been that long, then I'll reach out to PSI for you, assuming all the other things, you've double checked all those other things. Okay? Thanks, Nazir. Great question. Frank writes, good morning, Jack. How are you? Thank you, Frank. I read the class outline. I have a baby at home, which doesn't allow me to really do the in-person class. I was just wondering, is this a good part-time job to have, meaning being a real estate agent? And Frank, I love that question because I don't really think that being in real estate is a job at all. It's a business opportunity. And I think if you look at it like that, I think you'll have a much more clear idea about what you're getting into. It's not a job, it's a business. All right, so I'm confused about actually getting a job after I pass the test and receive my license. Affiliating with an agency, which is required of salespersons. Remember, we have kind of two levels of licensing. We have salesperson, which is kind of the entry level, and then broker, which actually we just talked about earlier in this video. But if you're starting out, you're going to be starting off as a salesperson. I'm trying to figure out if it would be worth taking the class and creating a second career. All right, so since I don't know you, Frank, it's impossible for me to say, but I would say that I have a number of teachers that I know are in real estate part-time. It's not that uncommon. So something to think about. I would say that it would be like a side gig, because obviously teacher takes up a lot of time during the day. But hey, if you could sell 2 or 3 houses a year, that might be a big difference in your income and for your family. So you might want to think about it. Could you find any insight on joining an agency after getting licensing? So once again, there's a lot of agencies out there, and you will find an agency that will fit for you working full time. Virtual agencies like the one we have here or any number of them are very common nowadays. So the old days of you driving in and after sitting at a desk at some office, that's wicked over. And I think there's an opportunity out there for you. The most important thing I would think about, Frank, is where you're going to get your business. Getting back to the fact that this is a business opportunity, where are you going to get your business from? Who do you know that might be buying or selling in the next 30 to 90 days? That's the big question. And if you know people, who do they know that might be buying or selling in the next 30 to 90 days? So Frank, you don't know it if you don't try it. The investment is fairly low for the potential payoff. Think about it. But for now, I'm Jack at Jack Gately Real Estate and the Online Real Estate Academy. You had questions, I had answers. Have a great day. Talk to you later.